Well, today was the RBI policy day. We've seen interest rates, the repo rate being hiked by 50 basis points. What we've also seen is, the growth story remaining intact, the inflation forecast for the year. But Governor Shaktikanta Das also took this opportunity to make one big announcement. He talked about UPI, how UPI has become such a big successful story, and how UPI will now be integrated also with credit cards. So far, UPI is linked only with debit cards. Before we go any further, here's the RBI Governor.
UPI has become the most inclusive mode of payment in India with over 26 crore unique users and 5 crore merchants on the platform. The progress of UPI, in fact, in the recent years has been unparalleled, and its overall functioning has been quite exemplary, and now many other countries are engaged with us in adopting similar modes and similar methods in their countries. In May this year alone, about 594 crore transactions amounting to rupees 10.4 lakh crore were processed through the UPI. At present, UPI facilitates transactions by linking savings or current accounts through users' debit cards. It is now proposed to allow linking of credit cards on the UPI platform. To begin with, the RuPay credit cards will be linked to the UPI platform. This will provide additional convenience to the users and enhance the scope of digital payments.
So there you go. The UPI being linked with credit cards is going to begin first with RuPay. I guess after that will be the turn of Visa and MasterCard. It's a big move. How big? Is it a game changer? Can this be the next trigger for the UPI? Can it lead to higher value transactions? What is it also going to mean for merchants? That and more is what I'm going to be discussing with my guest, Rajan Bajaj, the founder CEO of Slice, a fintech unicorn. Rajan, good to have you back on ET Now. Thank you so much for agreeing to this interview. So let me first begin by getting your initial thoughts. So far, one had to rely on debit cards for linking accounts with the UPI. It's going to be thrown open to the credit cards now, starting with RuPay. How big is this?
Thank you, Nantara, for having me here. Well, we definitely believe it has the potential to be a game changer. What is happening in India is a regulation-led innovation, which is probably not happening anywhere else in the world at this scale. It's not just helping the banks, it's not just helping the citizens of the country, it's helping the fintechs, it's helping the startups, and it's helping everyone involved in the payments ecosystem. With the new statement that has come in, we expect UPI, which is already the most inclusive mode of payment in India, which is clocking almost 600 crore transactions every month now, and more than 10 lakh crore of payments every month now. Also being starting to getting linked with credit cards, which will not just increase the credit card payments itself, because credit card payments will become much more easier because of the interface of UPI, which is mobile based. We believe that also has the potential to take UPI to the next level, which is from 600 crore transactions that are happening in a month, the dream of NPCI, which is 100 crore transactions in a day, because you are making it more inclusive. You're going to customers who are more keen to use it on a credit-based form factor as well.
So it's a big move. Now, what we've also been hearing about is how UPI, the adoption of the UPI has been having more at the cost of debit cards maybe than credit cards, because we all talk about the future of plastic, the future of credit cards. So what can this really mean? Is this going to be the next big trigger for UPI? Can it, increase its, which is, shattering records every month, but can it take it to the next orbit?
Yeah, I definitely believe so. It has that potential. Like I said, it has the potential not just to improve the UPI transactions, it also has the potential to increase the credit card transactions. And I think there is always a use case for both debit and credit to go together, because India is a very large country. So we don't have dearth of use cases. You tap any segment of customers and you'll find customers who are both very comfortable using debit-based instruments and credit-based instruments. So it's a very positive move for the entire industry, both banks and the startups and fintechs.
Okay, fair point. So it can really, really increase the base, is what you're saying. Now, UPI, and we've seen the adoption of it, like I said, shattering record month after month. But the value of the transactions are still on the smaller side. In fact, the maker of the UPI, NPCI, always said that it's meant for the smaller value transactions. But now that it'll be linked with credit cards which give you safety, a surety that in case there is fraud, in case a transaction fails, or you can also return money back to your credit card. Do you think this will encourage UPI users to maybe make higher value transactions?
Well, it's quite likely because credit cards are usually used by customers for these 5, 6 high value transactions at the merchant end. But UPI is not the larger transactions is not new for UPI, considering that up to 2 lakh rupee transactions are already allowed on UPI on many merchants. So many customers now do P2P payments, and P2P payments is in fact the larger use case for UPI today. So in those transactions, you're already very comfortable doing 50,000, 1 lakh rupee transaction. So I believe there'll be nothing new for UPI to handle in terms of larger ticket size of transactions because of credit cards coming in.
Okay, so you think the transaction value may not be immediately impacted. Rajan, it's a really big move. You yourself saying it can be a game changer. The execution, do you think the rollout, is that going to be a challenge?
The way I think about it right now, while more clarity is awaited by NPCI, like the governor said in his address, the way I am thinking about it right now is the way bank accounts are linked with UPI today. You have a list of bank accounts. You can link those bank accounts with your UPI handle. Similarly, there'll be options of linking your credit cards also to UPI. So from a user standpoint, it'll be very simple as an integration. But there are some details that are yet awaited, like what happens on the interchange, or what happens on the other networks later on.
Now, what about the merchants? They have been enrolled with the UPI using debit cards. Will they have to be re-enrolled, you think?
So look, I can only guess at this point how the regulator and NPCI will be thinking about it. But I believe most of the decisions, or all the decisions that we have been seeing in the recent past, have been in the interest of customers and the citizens of the country. My guess at this point would be that the key here would be not to disrupt anything at the merchant side, because it's the biggest success story of India in payments. The world is watching what we are doing, and they are trying to replicate what we are doing here in India. So all these 5 crore, close to 5 crore merchants who accept UPI, and close to 25 crore customers who are enrolled on UPI, and they have a certain behavior through which they use UPI, and they are very comfortable with that. The first key idea of the regulator would be, in my opinion, to make sure that that is not disrupted. So I don't expect a lot of changes on the merchant side, and they should be getting what they are used to getting. They should still have choice. Whether there'll be an interchange and all, that'll be a question, but that'll come, I think, over the next few months as the statement further processes into some form of longer form notification from NPCI.
Now it's beginning with the RuPay. Visa and MasterCard will, of course, be waiting also, and when it's going to be extended to them. What did you make of this? Start with the RuPay before moving on to the others.
Well, first of all, it's a great start. I'm very glad that it has happened. The industry is very glad that it has happened. And we'll have to wait and see what happens with the other networks. But overall, it'll be very positive, because credit card being linked to UPI, or credit being linked to UPI, is something that has been an ask of the industry from a long time. And the fact that this is happening it's in itself is a great step. How that shapes up with other networks, we are yet to see, and I think we'll have to await for the next set of larger notices to come in this regard.
Okay, so let's see how all of this progresses. It's a big move by the Reserve Bank of India, being heralded as a game changer. Let's see by when it is executed, first to be extended to the RuPay card. Thank you so much, Rajan, for joining us here with your views.
Thank you.